All right, and hello out there in YouTube land and to Facebook and to Instagram and to all the other places across the world. And for those of you who are within the sound of my voice, this is Demetrius Big Meach Taylor, and you are dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meach right here and right now. I want to come to you real quickly because I said I was going to start doing this and leaving information up here for us to have conversation. And I want to start giving my reviews of a show that I've been following since its inception. However, I've always had my reviews private, but this particular season, I wanted to make sure that we get to talking about it. That there is Iyanla, Fix My Life. Haha. Now, before we get started with all of that, I want you to know that if there's anything you need to know or want to ask me, if you want to know anything about dishing tea, my darlings, I invite you to go to my website, and that's www.dishingtea.com. That's www.dishingtea.com. Okay? If you need to email me, you can email me here on YouTube or on Facebook or whatever, but the quickest way would probably to be Big Meach, BIGMEACH, at dishingtea.com. That's Big Meach at dishingtea.com. Okay? So let's get into this right here, right now. Iyanla Fix My Life, and this is the episode with the Mitchell family. I wanted to wait until both all parts had aired before I weighed in on it because I didn't want to go piece by piece with this. Um, but let's talk about it because I'm a little biased with this because I adore Iyanla. I consider her to be a mentor of mine. Um, and I've said that to her on a couple of occasions when I had opportunity to talk with her via telephone. However, with this particular episode, there's a couple of things that I thought were missing that we probably lost because of the editing process. Y'all do know that, as she said in the show, did y'all pay attention to the fact that she said that the crew had been there with the Mitchell family for 3 days. And of those 3 days of being there, this 1 hour show, in fact, it's not even a full hour, I would say about 48 minutes. No. Because those commercial, have y'all noticed the commercial breaks are getting longer and longer these days? But maybe 45 minutes worth of content. Um, we got edited, so we lost a number of things within the edit. And I would have loved to have seen more work with the two gay sons, of course. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. What did you like about the show? For me, what I adored about her coming on and taking on the Mitchell family as a whole is the fact that she was able to sit down there and to show these boys what it was to have a mama, consistently in their lives. The scene where she was getting up, making breakfast in the morning, letting the boys, this, that, and the other. And then they got into this little argument and things. She come upstairs with her little head rag on and all of that. I thought that was one of the realest moments in television because it was, siblings going at it and carried on. And she came up in there to lay down the law, which was absolutely brilliant. Another thing about dealing with the Mitchells is that this here was such a complex story because everyone involved had their own private pain that they had to deal with, in addition to being a part of the collective. Because one of the things that I saw that was a strength to them was the fact that, as she said in the show, their idea of family and staying together, honey, has never been broken. And yes, they fought and they argued and carried on, but the whole goal was to make sure that the family unit was together. It stayed together. It did not diminish. It did not go by the wayside. They made sure that they were holding on to whatever family beliefs is possible. Now, here is where I say I wish we had seen more from the show, because what was it that mama and daddy did to teach them that particular skill set? You know what I'm saying? And I would have loved to have seen on tape some more work that she had to do with the mother and the father. You know what I'm saying? To see them come to some of their breakthroughs and carrying on, to see them actually start to do the work that was required for them to get themselves together so that they can hear their children speak to them as adults. You know what I'm saying? I thought that we missed out on those particular jewels, and maybe because, however they edit it, maybe it's because the the children may not have wanted that particular segment aired. Maybe it was the fact that it may have been too much and they wanted to save some of that, because Iyanla is real big on making sure that folks keep their dignity and carrying on when going through these processes. So I don't know what that was, or if she has creative power in the editing. I don't know. She is listed down as the executive producer, so I'm sure she probably could have a say-so in that editing. But whatever they did and whatever is on that cutting room floor, I would pay a mouse, or I wish I could just Wonder Twin powers activate form of a fly on that wall so that I can sit down there and look at the footage of what didn't make it to the show. I also thought that the element of their older sister was absolutely fantastic. For her to come in and to have such a say with all of that. Out of 8 children, this woman bore, she had 7 boys and 1 girl. Okay? And to know that she didn't even grow up with the fact of understanding what that is. I got all these brothers and carrying on, and, for them to make her the tomboy or whatever, or to teach her how to fight and to teach her how to take care of herself and what to look for in a man and all that kind of stuff. I really felt that we lost that dynamic growing up, and to hear that from this particular family would have been just a joy to unravel and to discover and carry on. One of the other things that I adored about this particular piece was the fact that each particular person, you saw where they fell alongst the lineage. And so you had the protector, you had the peacemaker, you had the, I won't call him buffoon, but you had the comic relief or whatever. You had the special one because he had the mental disorder. You had the pretty one because that was the gay child that brought all them clothes and said she got to have fashions and things. I would have loved to have seen that to develop. Another thing that we missed that should have been in there, the fact that not only did this woman have 8 children, but 2 of her kids are gay. That would have spoken volumes if they had tackled that. Coming from a mother and a father's perspective, because he was there. I would have loved to have heard his particular take on, the fact that he's the father of 2 gay sons. Okay, I would have loved for this episode to have focused on the relationship between the 2 gay children, because remember when it first came on, and the exercise was for them to be at their house, and they got into this little tiff, and then what? The girl. I cackled when that bitch did that. I was like, almost saying she finna go on a queen hissy fit. It's about to be done. But we lost that particular element because it was not aired, or I'm assuming it's on the cutting room floor. So those are some other little jewels that I would have loved to have seen come from this particular episode. Also, we saw the dynamics that the brothers had. Okay, I also would have wanted to see the mother and the father's reaction to one, the son that was killed, and two, the son that's incarcerated. We didn't touch on that outside of saying that's what they were or where they were. Okay. I would have loved to have seen those particular stories unfold out of what this was, for them. Perhaps they may have needed a fourth day, to talk about all of that and things. And to know that little Miss Thing, honey, little Miss Mama, was not around. So when the child was killed, honey, it's unclear to me if she was sober at the time or what, but just to know that her baby was killed out in the streets, child, that there is everything. And I know that those particular elements were covered because I trust that Iyanla is just that thorough and that sensitive to it. Because as a mother, she had to grieve, the loss of a child. As a father, he had to grieve the loss of a child and of a son. And what does that mean? And of course, the guilt of, okay, if I had done better, if I had done this, I would have loved to have tackled that with them on the air. However, that remains to be seen. This particular family is a representation of a lot that's going on in the world with parents who have become drug dependent. They don't know what to do with the children. At the time of being involved in their addiction and carrying on, the addiction took over. That's the one thing that I would have loved to have heard, is that the addiction took over. That's why it is an addiction, because you lost control, you lost yourself in it, and it takes over and it becomes the driving factor. To hear that, or to let that be a complete statement from the mom and the dad, I think would have been superior in the breakthrough, because it shows how human they are. And they were products of a street life or a quick life, a fast life, a money and having life or whatever. The father was saying throughout the episode, he did what he needed to do to make the coin, because he had to, he got 8 kids to feed. So I would have loved to have seen those particular elements come out. Wait a minute. Because I'm trying to think if this is the same episode about the child, the pretty child who, with the clothing. No, child. Okay, I'm getting these things mixed up. Hold on. See. Let me rephrase that, because something, I just lost my train of thought on something. I'm trying to describe this one thing, but I think that's another issue. But nonetheless, this particular episode here this particular series, the Mitchell Brothers series, has been absolutely 1,000% dead on point with dealing with parents who are incarcerated or on drugs or absent. Okay, why don't we just leave it at absent? Because that's going to be the umbrella term, because they probably were not forthcoming because they were on drugs, couldn't come because they were on drugs, couldn't get a job, couldn't this, couldn't that. And rather than be seen as a disappointment, a lot of people chose an opt out, as these two parents did. So now, in coming together and putting all this on the table and this, that, and the other, how do we heal from this particular kind of pain? And I believe that this particular family is doing what is necessary to stay together, because they were fighting so hard to be together and for folks to take them seriously, to where now you have an opportunity to where, wow, this is what's come out of us working together. Stop trying to be hating on each other or disapproving of one another. This here is what it is. So having said all that, Iyanla Fix My Life airs on Saturdays on the Oprah Winfrey Network, 9 o'clock p.m. So tell me what your thoughts are about the show. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? What is the parts, or what are the parts that tugged at your heartstrings? Did you agree that Michael Jr., his little, what's the name page? I don't know if it was Facebook or whatever. His little page that Iyanla pulled up had him in such a way. He said, "This is my comedy that I do," and it was like, really, that's muddy. That's the and all of that. So, um, with that and with the healing of all of that, do you just believe that this family would be on the right track? Leave your comments below. Let's talk about it. And let's see if you were in Iyanla's shoes and it was you going up fixing everybody's life, or at least giving them the tools to sit down and to sort some shit out and to say, okay, this is what this is what this could be. This is what we're not going to do because this is the pattern or the pathology that has always been in place. Let's not do this. So, if you were Iyanla, or if this was your show, are there any things that you would have done differently? Are there any things that brought you joy and teared you up? I'm a big crybaby, so I know I cry at every episode. What is that for you? So, again, leave all your comments and stuff below, and let's get this on and popping. If you need to know anything about Dishing Tea with Big Meach, you can go to the website, www.dishingtea.com. That's www.dishingtea.com. Okay? So if you'd like to subscribe to my page, just hit the subscribe button. Donations and things are always welcome. We're doing a lot of different things. We got camera equipment coming, and all this kind of stuff, so that we can give you a more professional look as we evolve and move on. For those of you who are privy to the radio show, I want you to keep your eyes open, because what we're doing now, we're transferring the archive files from the radio show, and we're putting them here on YouTube. So go and take a listen to some of your favorite artists and things that we have interviewed and talked with so far here on Blog Talk Radio Network, and here on YouTube and things with Big Meach. All right. So, having said all that, darling, you may finish all of your crumpets because the tea has been dished, and you've been dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meach. On that note, let me get prepared. I got to get ready for T.S. Madison, who's coming on the radio show on Wednesday, the 28th of March. So we're getting ready for that. And I got a couple other surprises coming for you. I'll talk with you again soon. Ciao.